Joining us to discuss this are Khalid Barau, PDP National Assembly Candidate from Bauchi State, and of course, Honorable Aliyu Waziri, who's the APC Party Chieftain. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I think we just have Khalid at the moment, so
Khalid,
we'll start with you. Khalid, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Of course, we've heard the peace accord one too many times, and now it has been signed, and campaigns have now begun. From your perspective, what should Nigerians expect, to see differently in this election compared to other previous campaigns?
Well, Ms. Celestine, good morning. Good morning, fellow Nigerians. I'm happy to be here once more. I think I was in your studio a few days ago to discuss about this peace accord. Invariably, this peace accord is sending a very negative signal to Nigerians. Reason goes like this, that why should we always sign a peace accord when it's during an election cycle? Nigeria should have been matured enough to go into election, with our conscience behind our minds, believing that the most peaceful thing we need to have is a peaceful election. An election is not a war. Election should be a form of, electing our leaders, and I don't think it should be a war. I don't think it should be, a way where politicians will use it as a vehicle to create, insecurity or, crisis at the end of the day. So this peace accord, I think we should far go beyond signing a peace accord in this country. We should demonstrate, our own love, our own patriotism to our nation. Our own peaceful coexistence, I think, is more paramount to us than, winning an elected position. So to me, it's just given a very, bad signal to Nigerians, and it's given a bad image to our country in the Committee of Nations, especially that Nigeria has been the leading African country, the leading African nation, the largest African country in the world, and the largest black nation in the world. So if Nigeria, as a leader of African countries, cannot lead by example and show and demonstrate to other nations that, yes, we can have an election peacefully without any commotion, without any crisis, then we will take our proper place in the Committee of Nations. But signing a peace accord during every election cycle, I think, is giving Nigeria a very wrong image. If countries like Senegal can go into election without signing a peace accord, then why should Nigeria not do that?
So, Khalid, are you saying that one of the reasons why we're signing this peace accord every election is because there are no real consequences to the people involved when they violate it?
Actually, I think this is where our own judiciary should have to step up. Because by the time we are signing peace accord, then we are showing to the world that we don't want crisis. We don't want, crisis in the aftermath of an election. And if such crisis had happened, and people who get involved are prosecuted, are arrested and prosecuted at the end of the day, then in another election cycle, nobody will have to, sign for any crisis. That means our election will have to take place without signing a peace accord. So I am actually not, in support of signing peace accord, not because I don't want peace, but because Nigerian democratic system is 28 years old today. And I think we should go far beyond signing a peace accord. If we truly meant well for this country, if we're truly patriotic for this country, I don't think election should be a vehicle for us to create, any kind of disharmony, any crisis among our own citizens.
Khalid, I don't know about this peace accord. I'm with you with that question when you asked, do we always have to continue signing these peace accords? For every single election, we have one signed. Osun elections has just ended. They signed one. And I don't know if you remember the comments by the Senator Fadonsi, what he said regarding killing the opposition and how he came back around to say, no, that's not what I meant. We always come back around to this all the time. And it's beginning to seem like as if it's just a gentleman's agreement. Because without enforcement, how much of a tool could it be when it comes to the elections? Because like you've just discussed with Celestine, it's continually flouted by the parties, by individuals, by supporters. And I'm wondering what or how we could enforce this? Do you think that there should be an agency that is vested with the obligation to enforce the peace accord?
I don't think we need any agency. Sincerely speaking, Nigeria should be bigger than just creating an agency or an institution for the prosecution of election malpractices. What I felt is we need to strengthen our own institutions. Already we have institutions that can secure and safeguard our electoral processes, and even the aftermath of an election, the election malpractices. We have tribunals. You understand? But at the end of the day, Nigerian individuals feels they are bigger than an institution. People will just violate laws without any prosecution. People will just do whatever they felt like they will do. Now, in citing an example with that senator, had it been after he have made that statement that wherever you see an Accord Party agent or an Accord Party supporter, kill it. He made an ambiguity statement, and there is no way in the eyes of the law that he can be able to, rephrase or paraphrase that statement. What he said was a statement that can incite crisis, a statement that can incite, mischievous act of politicians. So had it been after he has made that statement, our own security agencies like the police will now invite him and question him why he has made that such kind of statement. Because if individuals felt they are bigger than institutions, then it means there is no country that. Because Nigeria, I cannot say Nigeria is a very lawless country, but sometimes some people in the corridor of power felt they have absolute power to go beyond laws of the land, laws of the country. And if we continue to give that kind of perception to people, to other countries out of Nigeria, to other countries in the continent or in the world, then we are giving Nigeria a very bad name. Because there is no place we have better than Nigeria, and there is no institutions we have better than our institutions. So we must respect our laws, we must respect our own constitutional authorities, so that we will give an example to other nations who felt that Nigerians, believe in election malpractices. We must demonstrate our own patriotism to our own nation and to our own constitutional authorities.
Oh. Thank you, Khalid, for that response. We're now joined by Honorable Aliyu Waziri, who's an APC Chieftain. Honorable Waziri, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable. We couldn't hear the Honorable there. We're hoping that we have our volume up in our Abuja studio. Please, if we can check that. Honorable, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. We have just been talking with Khalid here regarding the peace accord. We've been asking him some very perfunctory questions, but we've been waiting for you, and here you are, thank goodness. I wanted to know, now the peace accord, the campaign season has started, and of course, parties are expected to sign this peace accord. There's a certain lack of enforcement in any case. If they choose not to sign it, nothing's going to happen. But something struck me, and I don't know what your answer would be to this. I'm wondering why the president himself was not part of the signing of the peace accord for this campaign season. Is there an explanation to that you could give us?
Thank you very much. Once again, good morning, viewers. Good morning, you and our sister there. The president was not there physically. There might likely be some national engagement that have restricted him from going there, but he was always represented by the party national chairman, and so the party is there. So I think the president not being there physically, it has no any other issue. So the presence of the national chairman has covered everything. President has a lot of tax in the country, so there might likely be something very, very important and urgent that needs his attention, which he needs to attend to. So by representing him by the national chairman of the party, I think that has filled the gap of Nigerians asking question why the president is not there.
You saw the Osun elections. There was one party member who actually caught people's attention when he made a remark on a viral video talking about killing the opposition. He came back to reframe what he meant by it. But there was a certain lack of responsibility, first of all, and then a certain lack of consequence to what he had done. We were talking earlier with Khalid regarding the lack of enforcement, and I had asked him whether there needs to be an agency that's vested with this responsibility. He doesn't seem to think so. But on your part, when it comes to party members and their utterances during election season, especially after signing or not signing these peace accord, where do you think the line needs to be drawn? What do you think, what responsibility do you think parties like the APC, whom in this case were inside of this matter, what do you think the party's responsibility should be?
So, first of all, let me start by saying, every step of election is being guided by laws. And any individual who has acted out of the laws will be responsible for his actions. Like the parties are well guided by the laws of the land, and also the party itself has their own constitution. During elections, there are some certain things that political actors should not be doing, so that it wouldn't give the democracy, it will not bring a setback to the democracy generally. So I think there are some things that should not be swept under the carpet in an event where elections are taking place and some people are going extra mile to do things that are completely out of the laws. Those things should be properly looked into, and the agencies responsible in tackling such issues has to come in and set some example, not only just from the governing party or any other oppositions. The right thing needs to be done because this democracy has come to stay in our country.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Right.
so I don't think I got the response or the answers to that question. I'm asking what the responsibility of the party should be when these kinds of, like in this case, the senator outrightly asked for the opposition to be killed, and nothing's happened since then. There seems to be no real response from the party itself. So as we move on to 2027 election, I'm wondering, especially your party, the APC, what its response is going to be when players actually come out and say these things that we've seen so often happen.
Definitely, the party will look into it, and a disciplinary committee definitely will come into that, and then look at the situations or the generality of how the whole thing happened. So, as I said earlier, no individual is bigger than the laws, whether you are in the governing party or you are in the opposition. So I'm sure APC as a party will look into that and then do the right thing. If, the party has a lot of ways of expelling one or maybe suspending a particular member who has done something that is bringing a bad image to the party. So I'm sure the party will look into that.
Right. Now, Khalid, while we're talking about, political parties and signing peace accords, let's talk about voters and misinformation. And of course, we know one of the fastest way to get information these days is social media. How best do you think political parties can play a good role to make sure that misinformations are not going around social media and there's no violence for rallies or anything that's coming through social media come 2027?
Well, before I made that comment, let me just make an addendum to a question that was raised by our gentleman here in the studio. If at all a certain senator of the Federal Republic of a registered political party will make a statement that is going to fuel crisis or misunderstanding among the electorate, or will send a very negative concern to citizens, then I think the party should have openly condemned such a statement, because he is making such a statement on and for his own political party. And Nigerians will have to look at his own political party as his own vehicle of making such a statement, because he belongs to a party that is in the central government. So this is a very, very wrong Putin. This is a very wrong negative signal to Nigerians for what APC has done of not openly condemning the statement of such a senator during an election. Now, in the name of in answering your question regarding social media and what parties could be doing, you see, media is a vehicle that will make plays peaceful or even go astray. I think the media outlets, and especially people like you, will have a role to play in the peaceful coexistence of a nation. Assuming now a party is trying to use the media to send a very negative perception to the citizens or to the world, such media platforms should have to openly reject such kind of, attitude by our own politicians, because we have no any other place than Nigeria. And whatever we do, we are being, are measured based on our own actions. And the consequences of our actions will have to follow us to wherever we are heading to wherever we are going to. Like my brother Aliyu said, this democracy has come to stay. Yes, this democracy, has come to stay. But what are we doing to continue to reshape our own democracy, to move from being a baby democracy to a nurtured democracy, to a democracy that is so matured? Now, we always cite an example with other countries, other nations that are developed in terms of democratic processes. But why are we still not making ourselves a shining example to countries who are just smaller than us in terms of respect for our own rule of law, for our own constitutional authorities? So the media have a very important role to play. And I think we need to sit up to our own responsibilities, because time is not on our side. We cannot spend the last 28 years, that's almost 3 decades, in a democracy, and still we call our democracy a baby democracy. So we have a long way to go, and we have a huge responsibility to offer to this country and to the citizens of this country.
Well, Honorable Waziri, now let's talk about APC. We all know that APC is the ruling party, and everybody, is talking about how a lot of people defer to APC. Now, in this situation, what do you think APC needs to do to convince Nigerians that, the election is going to be free and fair?
Well, I think half of Nigerians now are changing their thoughts concerning about whether elections are going to be free, fair, or elections are going to be manipulated. As you have mentioned earlier, some actors in the social media are giving a wrong narrative to Nigerians that the elections are going to be rigged in one way or the other. The Osun election has actually surprised a lot of people, knowing that the president is committed, allowing the Electoral Commission to do the independent assignment that was assigned to them by laws. As soon elections has happened, we have several number of our governors there. Everyone went there and make sure that the elections are well monitored. And at the end of the day, the winner has given his mandate and the will of the people of Osun State. So I think Osun election has already sent a strong signal for all Nigerians that, look, we have a president who is committed to building this democracy by allowing elections to be free and fair, unlike what we used to see before. In a cycle elections, people have in their minds that the central government is going there and finds their way. APC actually is not doing that. APC is committed in building democracy towards the minds of Nigerians and allowing all the electorate to exercise their rights, and at the end of the day, everyone's votes will count. That's one. And two, the government has done so much in making sure. The president has a lot of sleepless nights to make sure that this country remain intact from different sectors of our livelihoods. So I think Nigerians has that confidence in the Electoral Commission and the government of today that these elections in 2027 are going to be rancor-free, and also everyone's vote is going to be counted, and then at the end of the day, whoever emerged the winner will be announced. So this hope is there in the minds of Nigerians.
Khalid, are you a football man? Do you like football? Do you watch football matches, Khalid?
absolutely. I watch football most often. I'm a genuine Arsenal fan.
Arsenal, okay, let's not go there. That's not where I was going. But then, Aliyu, do you watch football? Are you good with football?
Yeah.
Aliyu, are you?
Arsenal fan? Did you say Arsenal fan?
I'm asking if generally you watch football. Do you enjoy football?
Yes, I'm a fan of football, yes.
Grand. So you see that thing, I don't know if it's called the supporters rule or something, where when supporters are unruly, the clubs have to pay the penalty. Sometimes they get to play matches without their supporters in the stadium just because the supporters were unruly in a previous match. So I want to piggyback on that and bring it into politics here and the peace accord and signing of this peace accord. Now, when we have apparatus like social media especially that can easily disseminate misinformation during the election period, or even supporters that are so passionate that they intimidate other party supporters, I'm wondering who should take that responsibility. Do you think our peace accord should also have in it such a statement or a clause where they could come under fire for the conduct of their followers or their supporters? Do you think that this would be a good idea? You can't answer that without putting in enforcement into that. So if you're going to answer, please make sure that you answer this with some sort of suggestion on how this can be enforced. I'd like Waziri to please go first, if you don't mind. I'm going to allow Aliyu. Could you please take that? Can you please, Khalid rather? Can you please respond? Maybe he'll get the gist of it. Khalid, if you can hear me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Before I respond, sometimes when you're having such kind of an interview, your opponents could say something that you may likely want to say something about.
Go ahead, please, if you have to.
Okay. I just want to remind my brother, Honorable Aliyu, here that APC is just talking about Osun election. But they have forgotten that the Osun election that Akkord's party win have come at the expense of the lives of over 5 to 7 people who were naturally killed before that election even took place. And I have not seen what the government of APC is doing, especially in condemning such an act of violence that resulted to the death of 5 to 7 citizens of this country. I can see a country where in America, one citizen's life is more important to the government and people of the United States. But in Nigeria, you can kill 5, 10 people and it will just be swept under the carpet and nothing will be done about it. You and me knows that there was, an allegations of mischievous killing of about 5 to 7 individuals in Osun, even prior to the election. 1, 2, there was an intimidation, not even an intimidation. There was a kind of muzzle that was used by the government of APC, as claimed by the Osun State government, that the EFCC have frozen the state account. That was about 3 days or 4 days to the election, until the president, in his own magnanimity, intervened to call EFCC to order to lift the court order that was used to frozen the state account. So all these kind of things, these are things that we are saying that we don't want to be seen in an election cycle. I want an election where no single individual blood will be spilled. Just like I always quote example with former President Goodluck Jonathan, who said in 2014 that his election is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. So this is what we want to see in this country, where an election will take place without killing one single individual, one single citizen. Because what we don't know invariably is that individual that you have killed might have been one of the best Nigerians that in the future will be a governor or a president that will demonstrate something good to a nation. So we need an election where no individuals is going to be harmed.
Khalid?
1, 2, in response to your question, yes.
Okay, go ahead and answer that then, since you've gotten there.
Okay, in response to your question, the National Peace Committee is a committee of highly respected elder statesmen of this country. It is headed by a former military president of this country, General Abdisalami Abubakar, who has more than 60 to 70% of contribution to the present democracy we are enjoying. He was a military president between 1998 to 1999, after which he returned Nigeria to democratic rule, knowing fully well that the world is now shifting from military dictatorship to democratic rules. And he has, honorably and gently moved Nigeria from military era to democratic era. And we have the likes of General Martin Luther King, who has been a very, very patriotic citizen who have served this country in the military regime. And we have also the likes of
Khalid, I'm
Bishop
sorry,
Hassan
Khalid, but Khalid, we're running out of time. I was hoping you'd get to the crux of that there real quick. Should political parties take responsibility for the action of their followers or supporters before election, during election?
That is why I talk about strengthening our institutions. If our own institutions are being strengthened more than the individuals, then any political party who get involved in an election malpractices and election violences should be sanctioned. And our own judiciary, our own electoral umpire, the National Peace Committee should have a collaboration between the three of them to fish out those individuals who have perpetuated crises or election malpractices to be prosecuted.
All right, Khalid.
Thank you so much, Honorable Waziri. Before we go real quick, I wanted to ask, if your party discovers tomorrow that there's someone in your midst that, is sponsoring violence, that is sponsoring, misinformation, spreading dangerous activity, would you tell us right here that your party will come out and sanction that person in public?
I'm very confident I will tell you yes. Anything that will attract the peace of this country and give a wrong narrative that is coming from a member of this party, the party will not accept that. I want to tell you that for free. And in a quick one, I just want to chip into what my brother said, since we are running out of time, with the swift action that the president took during the Osun election by giving a standing order for account to be unfreezed, the state government account to be unfreezed. I don't think that should have even been an issue if the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is doing their job in the one side, and then maybe it's the government finds it's a bit like maybe people might have think now that because it is an election time, people might have put some perception towards that. You should know that no governor in the country or government has the right to make use of the state funds in sponsoring any of his ambition or any of his electoral way outs. So the money itself has nothing. The monies in the account of the state government has nothing to do with the election. We need to get this very clear. So having been the account is being frozen, that does not stop the governor from going to move around his political activities, because the state government is owned by the state and the people of the state. So there should not be any alarm that because the account has been frozen. Do you want to use the money for elections? The answers are no. And for those who were killed, maybe he might have been busy attending to his PDP meetings in Bauchi State that has not allowed him to know what exactly is happening. The government has condemned the killings of the people that died before the election, and I'm sure the security agencies are also investigating that. And we should not forget, every issue, there is a way you handle it, because it's a national issue, it's a live issue. There are things that are very, very sensitive that we should allow the government to handle it in the best way of, in a professional way. So I think that is what I will say. But for our party, nobody will be allowed to mislead Nigerians. Democracy has come to stay in Nigerians, and we must, in a matter of must, we continue to allow Nigerians to know exactly what is happening. And at the end of the day, those who are taking over from those who are in power today will not be giving a wrong references of what happened in the past. And something has happened. If we go further.
Aliyu Barau, I want to say thank you very much. And of course, Honorable Aliyu hang on a sec. Khalid Barau, I beg your pardon, and Honorable Aliyu Barau Waziri. I got your names both mixed up. My apologies. Thank you very much for joining us on this conversation. I just wanted to end by saying that for optics' sake, it would be great to see the leader of the current party at the signing of the peace accord, at least for optics. We were taking a look at a collage of all the pictures there from the peace accord signing. We could see other parties represented. I think for the people of Nigeria, it would be good and, of course, satisfying to see that we're all in 100%, even whether we're opposition. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for having this conversation here.
Thank you, gentlemen.